People rarely envy what they see. They envy what they feel when they're around you. That's why jealousy follows spiritual souls. It's not about what you have, it's about what you radiate. When your energy shifts into higher consciousness, it silently exposes the emptiness in others who haven't awakened yet. You don't even have to say a word. Your presence alone reminds them of what they've lost: peace, authenticity, and self-trust. That's what triggers them. You became the mirror they didn't ask for, but can't look away from. During spiritual awakening, something subtle happens. You stop chasing validation and start vibrating truth. You no longer perform for approval, and that silently shakes the people still living in illusion. They start asking themselves, why does this person seem so free while I feel so stuck? They can't decode it, so instead of learning from you, they resent you. That's jealousy at a higher energetic level. It's not about possessions, it's about power. They're the quiet, untouchable kind. You see, when your consciousness rises, you start breaking invisible contracts with people who once relied on your smaller self. They liked you when you were uncertain, because uncertainty made you predictable. But when you become spiritually self-aware, you become unpredictable. You stop giving them emotional control. That's when jealousy kicks in. Not because they hate you, but because they can't access the version of you that used to serve their comfort. Every spiritual soul feels this shift. It's like walking through life and realizing people are smiling, but their energy isn't. You can sense tension in rooms that used to feel familiar. You start noticing that some people don't celebrate your peace. They question it. You've changed, they say. But what they really mean is, you're not easy to manipulate anymore. Jealousy wears the mask of concern, but its roots are fear. Fear that you're evolving faster than their control can keep up. Jealousy doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from the people who once claimed they loved your light. They admired you until your light began to shine brighter than theirs. They cheered for you as long as you stayed below them. But when your awakening brought self-trust, they felt threatened. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your growth exposed their stagnation. It's easier to envy your freedom than to face their own limitations. What makes jealousy around spiritual souls so intense is the energy mismatch. You're operating from inner stillness, while they're operating from comparison. You see connection, they see competition. You feel aligned, they feel left behind. And when someone is stuck in emotional chaos, your peace feels like a personal insult to them. Your silence annoys them, because they can't argue with someone who refuses to play the ego's game. They'll project, gossip, criticize, anything to pull you back into lower vibration where they can reach you again. But here's the secret. Jealousy is not the enemy. It's a signal. It's the universe's way of showing you who's not aligned with your new frequency. Every jealous reaction you experience after awakening is like a marker saying, you've outgrown this connection. Instead of fighting jealousy, observe it. When someone envies you, it means they've seen a reflection of something they crave but haven't cultivated. That reflection isn't your responsibility. It's their inner call to evolve. Yet spiritual souls often struggle with guilt. You start feeling bad for outgrowing people, for shining too bright, for triggering others' insecurities. But guilt is the ego's last attempt to keep you small. You're not responsible for other people's emotional reactions to your growth. The same light that heals you will blind those who refuse to open their eyes. Your only task is to keep shining. There's something magnetic about spiritual energy. It attracts curiosity, love, and yes, envy. When people can't understand why you're calm in chaos, they assume you're pretending. They don't realize that spiritual awakening rewires how you experience life. You don't suppress emotions, you process them. You don't chase control, you trust flow. That's why your presence feels confusing to those who thrive on drama. They sense peace but can't identify it, so they mistake it for arrogance. Jealousy follows spiritual souls because your energy exposes ego illusions. You live from presence, they live from pretense. And when pretense meets presence, it always feels threatened. The more you awaken, the more invisible your power becomes. And that invisibility terrifies people who depend on external validation. You're no longer competing in the same game, but they still think you are. That's why they gossip. That's why they underestimate you. That's why they try to humble you, as if peace needs to prove itself. Many chosen ones experience this strange loneliness after awakening. You start noticing silent attacks, the way someone subtly dismisses your growth or downplays your insight. These micro-reactions reveal who secretly envies your inner peace. They might not even be aware of it consciously. But the energy doesn't lie. The more centered you become, the more people around you reveal who they truly are. That's not a punishment. It's clarity. The jealousy isn't about money, success, or status. It's about your energy no longer being accessible. You used to be a source of validation for others. Now you're a source of reflection. That's uncomfortable for those who haven't faced themselves. You walk into a room and shift its vibration without effort, and that unexplainable influence disturbs those still trapped in lower frequency thinking. They can't explain why they feel uncomfortable near you. They just do. And here's the truth most won't say. Jealousy is the shadow that follows light. The brighter you shine, the longer the shadow becomes. You can't escape it, but you can understand it. The key is awareness. Once you realize jealousy is not personal, it loses its power. You stop internalizing others' projections and start using them as signs of how far you've grown. That's spiritual maturity, when you can witness envy and stay neutral. Because spiritual souls don't attract jealousy by doing something wrong. They attract it by existing in alignment. You walk differently. You speak differently. You no longer need to be liked to feel worthy. And that quiet confidence, that unshakable calm, feels like a challenge to those who haven't yet met themselves. They don't hate you. They hate the version of themselves they see when they look at you. But there's another layer to this energy, one that most awakened people don't notice until it starts affecting their peace in subtle ways. It's not just about others being jealous of you. There's a deeper hidden dynamic unfolding underneath their reactions. That hidden layer is energetic. It's not about words or actions, but vibration. When your frequency rises, it naturally reveals the energetic imbalance in others. People who are still living in fear-based consciousness feel that shift before they understand it. It's like standing next to someone whose calmness makes your own anxiety louder. Jealousy is often that unspoken discomfort, an energetic reminder that someone else has mastered what you're still fighting internally. Spiritual souls become magnets for this reaction because their energy is clean. When your energy field clears through awakening, it amplifies contrast. Just like a clean mirror reflects light sharply, your vibration reflects people's unhealed emotions more clearly. They don't hate you for your peace. They're reacting to the emotional echo they feel in your presence. And since most people don't know how to handle that reflection, they turn it into comparison. Why do they have what I don't? Why are they so calm when I'm anxious? Why do they seem untouched by chaos? Those questions quickly turn into silent jealousy. This jealousy can appear subtle, like backhanded compliments, forced smiles, or quiet withdrawal. You'll notice people who once celebrated you start acting distant when you share your growth. That's because your energy now carries truth, and truth exposes everything artificial. You've stopped living from the ego, and that makes people addicted to ego feel unsafe around you. You didn't change in a bad way. You just became too real for fake environments. It's strange how people admire authenticity until it mirrors their own lack of it. They'll tell you to be yourself, but when you truly are, they flinch, because being around authenticity challenges the comfort of pretense. Spiritual souls often don't realize that their evolution automatically disturbs those who rely on masks. You might think you're being kind, grounded, and peaceful, but to someone still living in emotional noise, that peace feels like a threat. There's a reason jealousy feels so draining. It's energy trying to attach itself to your field. When people project envy, it's like they're unconsciously trying to feed on your frequency. They crave what you embody but haven't cultivated. That's why you feel tired after being around certain people, even if they never said anything negative. Their energy is subconsciously pulling at yours. This is why protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's essential. Not everyone deserves access to your calm. When you begin living in alignment, you'll notice your boundaries naturally strengthen. The more connected you are to your inner world, the less tolerance you have for external chaos. You stop explaining your peace to people who prefer conflict. You stop trying to be understood by those who only listen to respond. That shift again triggers jealousy because people sense that they've lost influence over you. They'll try to guilt-trip you, act like you're cold, distant, or detached. But you're not being cold, you're being clear. Clarity feels like rejection to those who benefit from confusion. The jealousy spiritual souls attract also comes from misunderstanding. Most people can't tell the difference between confidence and peace. When you speak from self-awareness, they hear arrogance. When you walk away from arguments, they think you're passive. But the truth is you've learned the value of silence. You've realized that protecting your vibration is more important than proving your point. And people still trapped in ego-based thinking can't comprehend that level of emotional discipline. To them, your peace feels like superiority, but it's really self-respect. You might even start doubting yourself, wondering, did I change too much? Am I too distant? That's the empath in you trying to make sense of other people's discomfort. But you haven't changed too much. You've changed just enough to outgrow environments built on comparison. You're not distant. You're detached from chaos. You're not arrogant. You're aware. And awareness always looks intimidating to those who still depend on illusion for identity. When jealousy follows a spiritual soul, it often comes in waves. At first it's subtle, a shift in tone, a cold silence. Later it becomes direct, criticism, projection, gossip. You start seeing how threatened people become when you no longer fit their mental image of you. You stopped playing the role that fed their sense of control, and now they're unsure how to relate to you. Some will call you changed. Others will say you've become too much. But you'll notice something. Their reactions have less to do with you and more to do with the mirror your presence has become. Spiritual jealousy isn't about material success. It's about energetic success. People can't stand how unaffected you are. They can't handle how you remain calm when they expect you to break. Your neutrality in chaos is your greatest power, and that's exactly what triggers envy. When others are loud, you're quiet. When they're reactive, you're observant. You've learned how to stay centered no matter what's happening around you, and that emotional stability is something most people secretly crave. But jealousy can also come disguised as admiration. Some people will appear to praise you, but underneath it lies comparison. They want to be like you, but without doing the inner work you've done. They'll mimic your habits, your mindset, even your tone, yet still carry resentment because imitation doesn't create transformation. Energy can't be faked. You can copy someone's behavior, but not their frequency. That's why jealousy grows stronger the more they try to emulate you. They want your peace, but not your process. And that's the thing most people never understand. Your peace was earned. It came from years of chaos, loneliness, introspection, and emotional alchemy. You didn't wake up calm. You became calm by surviving storms that once broke you. But jealous people see the result, not the process. They want the destination without the discipline. They want your strength without your struggle. And when they realize they can't access that by shortcuts, envy replaces admiration. For the spiritually awakened, jealousy isn't something to fear. It's something to study. Every jealous encounter teaches you how to detach gracefully. You learn that not everyone deserves your energy. You start mastering the art of energetic discernment, knowing who genuinely resonates with your frequency and who's just feeding off it. The moment you stop explaining yourself to the wrong people, you protect your peace in ways no words can describe. But here's the twist. Sometimes the jealousy you experience externally mirrors the small unhealed jealousy within yourself, because every awakened soul still has fragments of ego lingering. When you see others succeeding faster or shining brighter, a faint sting might arise. That doesn't make you hypocritical. It makes you human. Spiritual awakening doesn't erase the ego. It teaches you how to observe it. When you recognize your own jealousy with compassion, it loses its grip. You stop competing with anyone and start expanding with everyone. That's how true mastery forms, not by denying negative emotions, but by transforming them. The same jealousy that others project at you once lived inside you too, before you became aware. You've outgrown it, but now you're surrounded by reflections of what you've transcended. It's not a curse, it's confirmation that you've evolved. You are now walking proof of the emotional freedom others are searching for. Jealousy follows spiritual souls because they hold a mirror to the world's insecurity. You represent freedom in a society addicted to validation. You symbolize alignment in a world obsessed with approval. That contrast is powerful, and power, when misunderstood, always attracts resistance. But every ounce of envy you experience is also evidence of your energetic influence. It means your light is being seen, and yes, sometimes resisted, but seen nonetheless. Still, there's a deeper truth hidden beneath all this, a final realization that completely changes how you see jealousy forever. It's not just about others reacting to your energy. It's about how your consciousness transforms those reactions into fuel for your evolution. When you stop reacting to jealousy and start observing it, you step into true energetic mastery. Most people get caught in emotional defense. They try to prove they're not arrogant, explain their intentions, or fix other people's perceptions. But spiritual maturity means realizing you don't have to. Jealousy only feeds on your attention. The moment you stop giving it emotional fuel, it burns out. Energy can't survive where there's no reaction. Think about it. Jealousy is like wind. If you try to fight it, you get thrown off balance. But if you stand still, it passes. That's what higher consciousness teaches you. Emotional stillness. You no longer internalize people's envy, because you understand its root: pain, confusion, and unhealed comparison. You see through the illusion that jealousy is about you. It's never about you. It's about what your presence awakens in them. Once you understand that, you gain emotional immunity. And here's the shift. Instead of resenting those who envy you, you start feeling compassion. You recognize that jealousy is a symptom of spiritual hunger. People envy what they think you have because they haven't yet discovered that the same peace, power, and presence exist within them too. You represent a reminder of what's possible. And reminders can either inspire or irritate, depending on someone's readiness to awaken. That's why your job isn't to shrink your light, it's to embody it unapologetically. Because every time you stay calm under envy, you show others what freedom looks like. Energy doesn't lie. Even in silence, your vibration speaks volumes. People can sense when you're authentic, grounded, and whole. That frequency naturally attracts curiosity and resistance at the same time. Some will be drawn to it, wanting to learn. Others will reject it, feeling uncomfortable. Both are valid reactions. They just reveal where each person is in their journey. Your role isn't to please either side. Your role is to stay centered in truth. The real transformation happens when you stop being afraid of jealousy and start using it as guidance. When someone envies you, don't take it personally. See it as confirmation that you're walking your path. Every projection they throw at you is just energy searching for grounding. If you remain calm, that energy dissolves. But if you react, it attaches. That's why emotional awareness is your armor. You don't need to block people. You just need to stay emotionally neutral. Imagine walking through a world where everyone's energy is loud, chaotic, and reactive, but you're calm, silent, and self-contained. That's how spiritual souls move through life. You're no longer in the storm, you've become the eye of it. Jealousy loses its power because it can't find anything inside you to hook onto. You've already faced your own shadows, so others' projections don't stick. You've already made peace with imperfection, so external judgment feels irrelevant. That's liberation, when nothing external can disturb your internal equilibrium. The more you embody this state, the more your energy transforms. You stop leaking it into conflict, explanations, or comparison. You begin to radiate quiet authority, the kind that doesn't need validation to be real. And ironically, that's when jealousy often increases externally, because your calm now feels like power. But you see it differently now. You no longer interpret jealousy as a threat. You see it as proof of impact. You've become a living example of what inner work can do, and that naturally shakes the collective ego. Here's something most spiritual souls eventually realize. Jealousy is simply energy searching for identity. When people haven't found themselves, they try to borrow identity through comparison. They define themselves by who they're above or below. But when you awaken, you step out of that ladder completely. You stop ranking yourself and start understanding yourself. That's the difference between ego and awareness. One competes, the other observes. And once you reach that point, something magical happens. The same people who envied you start learning from you. Your consistency softens their resistance. Your peace becomes a quiet invitation, not a threat. Some will come back saying, "I finally get it now." Others may never admit it, but they'll change because of what your energy showed them. That's influence without words. That's the power of spiritual presence. Still, there will always be those who remain stuck in comparison. They'll keep misunderstanding your peace as pride, your silence as judgment, your detachment as rejection. But you won't take it personally anymore because you understand that not everyone can meet you at your vibration, and that's okay. Your journey isn't about convincing anyone to understand you. It's about understanding yourself so deeply that misunderstanding no longer bothers you. You'll reach a stage where you no longer chase validation, not even from those you love. You'll feel a quiet fulfillment in simply existing as yourself. That's the point where jealousy stops following you, not because it disappears, but because it can't find resonance in your field anymore. The secret truth is this: Jealousy can't touch a soul that has made peace with its own darkness. Once you've embraced your flaws, healed your insecurities, and accepted your path, no external opinion can shake you. People can only trigger what you haven't healed. If jealousy used to hurt, it's because a part of you still needed validation. But when you heal that, jealousy turns invisible. You feel it, you see it, but it passes through you like wind through open space. And that's where your spiritual evolution becomes unstoppable. You no longer walk to prove your worth, you walk to express your truth. Your energy doesn't beg to be understood, it simply exists. You don't shrink your light to make others comfortable, because you know that dimming yourself doesn't make the world brighter. The ones meant for your frequency will rise to meet it. The rest will fade, not out of hate, but out of energetic mismatch. That's the natural sorting of consciousness. Alignment always rearranges reality. The beauty of this realization is that it frees you from resentment too. You stop blaming others for their jealousy, and instead thank the experience for refining your strength. You begin to see jealousy not as a curse, but as a compass, pointing you toward higher self-awareness. Each time someone projects onto you, you get a chance to practice detachment. Each time someone misunderstands your peace, you get a chance to deepen it. That's the hidden gift within every uncomfortable encounter. Eventually, jealousy becomes background noise, something you notice but never absorb. You understand it's part of the contrast that keeps evolution alive. Without contrast, growth would stop. Without misunderstanding, wisdom wouldn't sharpen. Without envy, self-awareness wouldn't deepen. Everything serves a purpose, even the uncomfortable parts. Spiritual maturity is realizing that every shadow in your journey, including jealousy, exists to help you integrate more light. And that's why jealousy follows spiritual souls, because light attracts attention, and attention reveals shadows. You didn't choose this, but you're built for it. You're not cursed by envy, you're chosen to rise above it. The moment you accept that, you move from reacting to guiding. You become the calm presence in a reactive world, and that's where your true power lies. When people can't understand your peace, let them wonder. When they misjudge your silence, let them project. You don't have to defend your energy. It speaks for itself. Every jealous reaction you encounter is just another sign that you've shifted dimensions internally. You're no longer playing the same game, and deep down they know it. That's why they react. But you observe, you learn, you evolve. And one day you'll look back and realize that jealousy was never your enemy. It was your teacher. It taught you discernment, patience, and emotional power. It showed you who was real and who was projecting. It trained you to stay calm when misunderstood, to stay kind when misread, and to stay powerful when underestimated. It helped you master the art of being unaffected in a world built on reaction. So when jealousy follows you again, smile inwardly. It means your light is still shining. It means your peace is still potent. It means you're still walking the path of higher consciousness. Let them feel what they need to feel. Your job is to keep expanding, to keep embodying the stillness that others mistake for mystery. Because one day, that same stillness will awaken them too. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out in silence, and in that silence, everything loud eventually dissolves. That's the quiet victory of a spiritual soul. The moment you realize that peace doesn't need to prove itself, it just is. If this connected with you, thank you for watching until the end. Like and subscribe, because this space is for souls like you, who know their light may be misunderstood, but never dimmed.